Welcome to Guns, Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I am Gary Gunderson. At the end of this clown car is an announcement that New Jersey is suing Glock, blaming them for having a design that is capable of being converted into a machine gun, and it's about as stupid as you would expect from people who don't understand firearms or even basic geography.
I want to underscore a point. Glock is an Austrian-based company. Their executives are in Austria. Austria is pretty close to Germany, I think.
That bright one is Attorney General Matthew Platnik, and he is seeking to ban all Glocks in New Jersey and other states because criminals are using them for crimes. This may be his first time in front of a crowd in a school gymnasium, as he obviously did not qualify for the Geography B. Even their poster is mislabeled, showing two Glocks side by side, one with and without a switch, but of course only one of them is a Glock.
And I say this as a parent of two young kids, including my 1-year-old daughter, who had to participate in a mass shooting drill before she could even walk.
Okay, she didn't participate, obviously. What, are you going to argue that was traumatizing to her as a 1-year-old who didn't know what was going on?
Thanks to their work, you are 6 times more likely to be shot and killed in Mississippi than you are in the state of New Jersey.
That makes it sound like they're the ones shooting people in Mississippi.
That's why today I'm announcing that I am leading a coalition of 16 states to form a multi-state coalition to hold irresponsible gun companies accountable when they break our laws and contribute to the gun violence epidemic. And I want to be clear, this is not about attacking anybody's Second Amendment rights.
You are trying to ban the most popular model of pistol in the entire nation because criminals use them. That sounds like an attack on the Second Amendment. The complaint even says that switches are proliferating among people who aren't legally allowed to own firearms and gang members. That's not Glock's fault at all. Criminals break the law. Shocking. And that coalition sounds like a conspiracy of people who can't get it done on a federal level.
Our lawsuit alleges multiple violations of New Jersey's firearms industry public safety law, as well as other state laws. These violations stems from Glock's design and sale of its namesake pistols, which can be easily switched into illegal machine guns with just one small, inexpensive piece of plastic.
The ATF, under the most anti-gun administration we've ever seen, wasn't even able to wiggle their way into saying Glocks are easily convertible into machine guns and get them banned.
And the third thing I would just say, the feds need to help. This is clearly a federal issue. They need to step in and help.
But you're right, this is clearly a federal issue, but you're using taxpayer dollars and the government's infinite money glitch to sue firearms manufacturers to punish them because the election didn't go your way.
It's a coordinated effort to ensure that our kids no longer have to grow up in a country, the only country in the world that looks like us, where the single most likely cause of death for them is a gun.
Said this a lot, it's a lie. This stat includes adults and excludes infants.
Today, I am announcing that alongside the state of Minnesota, we have filed a lawsuit against Glock to once and for all end the machine gun industry, homemade machine gun industry in this country.
By banning the sale of more Glocks, except for the millions of Glocks already in circulation or the thousands out there used by law enforcement officers in these same states, or the fact that Glock isn't distributing these devices in America.
Glock has knowingly sold products that anyone with a screwdriver and a YouTube video can turn into a military-grade machine gun in a matter of minutes.
Well, anyone with a screwdriver, YouTube, and an illegal device? Look, I don't care if it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's illegal to have. That's kind of a key component of being able to commit the crime.
So for now, for under $20, or with the help of a 3D printer, anyone can purchase or make a Glock switch that can be fitted into the backplate of a Glock. Machine gun conversion devices are illegal under federal law and under state law. And our lawsuit, filed in New Jersey courts in the Chancery Division, demands that Glock suspend sales of the switchable guns to New Jersey civilians.
Wow, the illegal thing is being used by criminals. Also, if the design is so terrible and heinous, why just ban the sale to civilians? Why not police as well?
or an auto sear. It's a small add-on component the size of a dime or a Lego piece that, when added to the rear of a Glock pistol, makes that pistol function as a machine gun.
I should mention the complaint is so incredibly stupid. It centers around how easily a Glock is converted due to the removable backplate, and that Glock could easily change it so it's not switchable, as they say. And their first suggestion is to have a backplate in place with proprietary screws or fasteners. Okay, you're saying that would be okay? That's ridiculous. So you're complaining about this that's easily convertible, that's $20, and what? It'll be another $5 to buy a proprietary screwdriver bit that will be on the market in 10 minutes? You think a layperson can't turn a screw? And the article they reference from the Trace isn't much better, suggesting making it not removable at all, even though they acknowledge you can't clean it or inspect it if they do it. And their other suggestion is completely redesigning the internals, which would be, I don't know, a different gun altogether.
Glock designed that pistol with a striker fire design with machine gun functionality inherent to that design.
This is a big point of contention in the complaint as well, that a striker fire design is somehow more machine gun-like. These people have no idea what they are talking about. Full auto is the easier thing to make. Semi-automatic, you have to, add elements to prevent full auto fire. Every firearm is easier to make as full auto, but they don't know anything. The complaint mentions that the auto sear holds the trigger bar down, but does not mention the connector at all. For the 5th generation, they did add something to block the simple switch, and in the conference, they don't really address it.
On the 5th gen question, I'm not going to go into the back and forth of a factual dispute at this point, but that will be something that will come up over the course of the normal litigation. But that being said, there are still many of these weapons before the 5th gen that are still on the street.
But the complaint does talk about it, calling this change immodest and immaterial because it is easily removed. But a screw isn't, and they talk about seeking every dollar they can. The complaint suggests they are profiting off of the existence of these switches because they are used by criminals, even though it's already the most popular pistol in the nation. And they don't mention that one reason older generation Glocks are still on the market and sold in the United States is because of states like California that have approved handgun registries and refuse to approve almost anything new. These firearms are so dangerous, yet they're allowed in California, while newer generations that aim to stop this issue aren't.
Many people even purchase Glock switches that have the Glock logo on them. And some even sent these Glock switches with the Glock logo back to Glock, asking Glock to fix it for them.
Okay, this is a funny anecdote, but the article they pulled this from did not provide any sources for this. And so what? How can Glock stop these small Chinese companies from shipping them over when the U.S. government can't?
And while this may be the first multi-state lawsuit to emerge from that coalition, I promise you, it will not be the last.
Oh, goody, crushing an industry you don't like with lawsuits with endless money backed by the taxpayers and overprinted money.
And when you go online, you can see how rampantly available these switches are. Social media videos.
The complaint also mentions being used in rap music and pop culture, as if rap about criminal activity is not the norm.
And I think when you see what the Supreme Court has done to common sense gun safety laws, sitting in Washington where they don't have to come and meet with victims of gun violence, it's easy to forget that there are good folks doing hard work, lawyers who don't accept that there's nothing we can do about these harms.
It's pretty sad that the Attorney General of New Jersey does not understand how law or the Constitution works. Common sense is a branding to make it seem like these laws are unavoidable, but the state laws that were overturned in Bruin clearly violated the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court didn't go far enough. And lawyers should accept that you can't push for certain laws that are unconstitutional. They even tried to use Bruin language in their complaint, talking about the long history and tradition of heightened machine gun regulation, even though it only dates back to 1934. because machine guns should not be regulated like they are. It's also funny if you look at the Attorney General's X account, as he's trying to force New Jersey laws with this lawsuit onto a national outcome.
And they're happening because of the work that we're doing in New Jersey. And I wish they were happening in 50 states. I wish that coalition I announced was 50 states. And we'll get there one day.
And yet his previous tweet was about how Texas can't impose its will on abortion everywhere, but New Jersey can impose its violation of the Second Amendment everywhere. Sure. The complaint also makes a big deal that there are 50 certified Glock dealers in New Jersey, and that one of those stores has a history of ATF infractions. Oh no, infractions! If they weren't enough to be shut down, they must not be that bad. If gun dealers refused to sell to any stores with a small infraction, that would be effectively the same as being shut down by the ATF because they were given an infraction. Which is obviously not the point, otherwise they would just shut them down.
That Glock handguns, ostensibly sold to American civilians as semi-automatic weapons, can easily be switched into machine guns. Glock itself readily exploited this feature when it developed and released the successor version of the G17, the G18, which it openly markets to military and police customers as a weapon capable of automatic fire.
They are semi-automatic, so are AR-15s. They can be converted as well. The ATF even claims that drilling a single hole converts it, so that's easily convertible. Every semi-automatic firearm is capable of automatic fire with the right change, so I don't really get your point.
Glock has been well aware of the manipulability of its handguns for decades. This feature of Glock's design was so obvious and easy to exploit that even Leon, an individual unaffiliated with Glock, could independently conceive, construct, and market a prototype to make a G17 fire in automatic mode.
The complaint makes this point too, that the Switch was designed by someone not associated with Glock, as if that's a big deal, as if there aren't aftermarket customizable parts available in most industries from secondary companies. Seriously, the complaint makes a point that there's even a Wikipedia page about Glocks. Oh no, it's so popular it even is on Wikipedia. It also calls an 11-round magazine high capacity. Yikes.
And when we hold the firearm industry accountable when they break our laws, the same way we hold literally every other industry accountable, 2005, President Bush signed one of the worst laws ever signed by a president that, unlike every other industry, gave the firearms industry broad immunity from suit in federal court.
The firearm industry does not have special exceptions, but it probably needs them because of nonsense like this lawsuit. They're using the power of the governmental purse to harass a company and lean on other companies to compel them to do their bidding because they couldn't pass national legislation. You think Toyota should be sued because people mount weapons on them? That's not Toyota's fault. They are only guilty of producing a small economy-sized truck built to last at a good price.
We need to use every tool at our disposal to end the gun violence epidemic. Separately and jointly, our offices will pursue lawsuits as part of an overall effort to treat gun violence like that public health crisis that it is.
Like violating the Constitution. I get you. There's also a media blitz seemingly coordinated with this lawsuit. A Times article stating that switches fueled shootings, as if the switches didn't exist, they wouldn't try to commit murder. The Times also suggests that by marketing Glocks as customizable, they are somehow encouraging the use of illegal switches. Another article in one paragraph acknowledges Glocks account for 2/3 of all pistol sales, and in the next paragraph say that Glocks are used in the majority of crimes with handguns where they are recovered, as if there's no relation between those two statistics. Anyways, that's all for today. I just wanted to cover this lawsuit because it's ridiculous and probably, if this succeeds or gets any ground, the way forward for these gun control groups. At the very least, they can bleed these companies dry of money and excess funds with these frivolous suits. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you see any other articles or points made about this lawsuit that you thought are interesting? Let me know. If you've made it to the end of the video, please consider supporting the channel by joining my Patreon. And if not, subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing it with others. Thanks for watching.